Boy.
And it is. Good evening, nerds around the world. Welcome to episode 175 of the Nerds Unite as One podcast. I am Paul English, and we are continuing our top 10 greatest films of all time list via interrogations on picks 8 and 7 on our list. And joining me is the regular crew. It is Mike. How's it going, sir?
Not too bad.
And hey, 2 in a row. It's the founder, Caleb Tufts. What's going on, brother?
Doing good, guys. Doing good. Now, y'all gonna see me every time. I'm not gonna miss one. But sorry, guys, that it's been hard to schedule. Everyone's busy. You know, like if Paul works full time, Mike's works full time. Hard to schedule. So, but we're here now. So, yeah, Paul. Yeah, I'm excited to go.
All right, so you know how this works. Where it's an interrogation. It's picks 8 and 7 on our list. Let's start going through this. So Mike, real quick, what are your 2 picks this episode?
Number 8 is Casablanca. And number 7, I pulled an audible and just switched it up today. Number 7 is Zootopia.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay. Caleb, what are your picks?
All right. Number 8 is Toy Story 3. And number 7 is the 1984, the original A Nightmare on Elm Street.
You heard of that. 1984, not the 2009 one.
Was
that 2010? I don't really know.
I don't care, but it doesn't matter. Movie sucks.
All right. And my picks are at number 8. It's kind of a bit of a cop-out. I apologize. But I have Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Because let's be honest, it's really meant to be seen as one 6-hour film. So that's my 8 pick. And number 7, I have The Secret of Nim.
Oof. Okay.
So let's get started with number 8. And Mike, I think I'll have you on the hot seat first for this one. So Caleb, what is your first question for Mike?
Okay. So I didn't have time. I totally spaced. So these are going to come just straight off the dome, guys. So Mike, Casablanca. I've never seen this movie. I know it's a classic one. Is it the? I know. Paul says the same thing to me. Trust me. In your opinion, Mike, is this the? How do I put this? Not your favorite, but in your opinion, is this the best film that you've ever seen? In terms of like how it's made, story, yada yada yada.
No.
Okay.
It's not the best film I've ever made, but it's number 8 on my list, so it's in the top 10.
Fair enough. Holly?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised it was so low on your list. You will see this film on my list somewhere. So I mean, I guess the real question is, I mean, I kind of a 2-parter. So, what, in your opinion, makes this film so good, but so low on your list?
Yeah, well, it's not really a question of why is it so low on the list. Is more of a question of what else kind of is better than it for me. I mean, it's still on the list. It's still in my top 10, but there are just some other movies that I think are just a little bit more technically precise, a little bit more meaningful. I mean, this is a fantastic movie, but it doesn't really have the emotional depth that some of the others on my list do. But it's still a fantastic. It's one of the best written movies I think I've ever seen in my life. It is just the dialogue is so snappy and perfect. It's funny. It's touching. It's emotional. It's really excellent. The story arc that the character shifts that Humphrey Bogart's Rick goes through is just a beautiful, very well done. The writing is just so perfect. It's just, I wish there's not really as much of an emotional impact as some of the others on my list.
Okay. Caleb, what's your last question?
Yeah. I mean, going off on that, like, if you could pinpoint one thing about like your favorite performance, which I'm assuming is going to be Humphrey Bogart. I'm assuming that's your favorite. Like, what is one thing about his performance that stands out to you?
I think the best thing I can say about Humphrey Bogart's performance is that.
Daddy.
I'm sorry, Paul. You were just mouthing something. I'm not sure what it was, but
you'll find out.
Okay. Just something about like how when you see him at the beginning, he is just like emotionally he just shut down. He's just walked off pretty much everyone, and you're like, he's a he's a likable guy, but you're like, why is no one able to get through to him? And there's the way you see the cracks in that wall start to appear when Elsa comes back into his life. It's just beautiful, and then you see the flashbacks, you see how he was and what caused that wall to come down, and then you see him start to climb back over the wall and seeing him almost come back to life is just amazing. And I mean, I've seen other movies with Humphrey Bogart in it, and this one is by far the best acting he's ever done.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so here's my last question, and it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, the dialogue in this movie is absolutely legendary.
Yes.
And Caleb, just for added incentive, there's actually a connection to our favorite baseball team, the Red Sox, in the writers of this movie, which I can fill you in on later.
Okay.
Mike, do you have a favorite moment of dialogue in this film? I know that's hard to choose.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everything that Claude Rains says is just some of the best dialogue ever. But I think for me, just the one part that just stands out most in my mind is when the Germans force Claude Rains to shut down Rick's. And he's making up an excuse. He goes, "I'm shocked that I find gambling going on here." And this guy, little peon, comes up. "You're winning, sir." "Oh, thank you very much." He puts him in his pocket.
Okay.
He's just like, he's so two-faced, but he's two-faced in a really, really likable way.
Oh yeah, that's a hell of a movie. It is a hell of a movie. All right, Mike. Yeah, so you're off the hot seat for now. You'll look back on it later. But Caleb, you're up next. So let's go. Number 8 on yours is Toy Story 3. So Mike, I'll let you start this one. What's your first question for Caleb?
All right. I'm for the most part, I'm just kind of pulling them off my top of my head as well.
Fair enough.
What is it that puts Toy Story 3 above the other two for you? Or, it may not be above the other two. The other two may be other on the list.
So,
knowing him, all 4 are going to be on this list.
I asked if we could include more than one. There is another Toy Story film on this list, much higher on my list. Okay. But that's from nostalgia. This is probably the best movie in the series, but because of nostalgia, there's another movie that's higher on the
that's fair. That's
list. Fair. But this movie, just to kind of elaborate, every time I watch this movie, I cry when Andy gives his toys to Bonnie.
100%.
2010, I went with a girlfriend, saw it in theaters, bawled my eyes out as like a 20-year-old man. Like, I literally like Toy Story is my childhood. It is a huge part of my childhood. I saw the original when I was like 6 years old, and I just love this movie. I think it's perfect. I think there isn't one thing I would change about this movie. I love the characters. I love how they act. It's such a perfect end, and I feel like this movie lessens Toy Story 4 because Toy Story 4 is just not necessary. I mean, I like it. It's not bad. But this movie was literally the perfect end, to a trilogy. So,
it's the primary reason why I've still yet to see Toy Story 4. I mean, I have nothing against it. Toy Story 3 was just the end.
Perfect ending. Perfect ending. Ending.
I was alone in the theaters, and when So Long Partner, I was bawling my
every time. That's the thing about it, and why this movie resonates with me. It's not because of nostalgia. Started in my 20s. Every time that I'm watching it, if I'm watching it with Elijah, or just if it's on TV, right, that scene comes up, I will cry every single time because it just reminds me of my childhood and growing up, and kind of how I wish that I was a kid again. Like how much I miss my childhood. So,
all right. So I've actually only got one question for you. And I'm going to twist your arm on this one because I know you love movies, but if you had to pick like one thing, just the one thing that you're like, that should have been better.
Oof.
What is it?
Twist that arm.
If I had to pick one thing that I think that they could have done better,
or maybe you just did not like it all.
Ooh. This might sound weird, but like I didn't like Ken all that much. I thought he was very unnecessary. Not that I didn't think he was bad and that I didn't mind his comedy, but like I don't really laugh much at his jokes and about him, styling clothes, and then Bobby like rips his clothes up. I mean, I understand why he was acting that way. I could have done without the Ken character, or they could have toned him down a lot,
Okay.
But I mean, but in my opinion, this movie's perfect for him. So it's like it's hard to nitpick a perfect movie. So yeah.
All right. So, Mike, what's your last question?
Well, a great movie is often as only as strong as its great villain, and we got Lotso. Thoughts on Lotso?
Man, if I had to rank, Lotso would probably be man, hard to fight with nostalgia. He's probably number 2 behind Sid from the first movie. I just love that first movie so much. Like you guys know, like that movie's gonna be way higher on my list, but and that's purely from nostalgia. But he was awesome. He was great. I love the fact that he kind of brings you in, and then you're like, oh wow, yeah, they're gonna get played with, and then you're like, this is kind of a dictatorship. He's kind of a dickhead, man. He's kind of a douche. Oh wow, like he puts himself on top, and he always gets the good, always plays with the older kids that will always play with him. And I do like how he got his in the end. How he was on the front of that truck. But great villain though. I like him higher than a Prospector, and I liked him higher than the doll from the fourth one. So, but yeah, it was really good. I mean, like all the villains are good in this series because Pixar just is awesome. As Mike, because yours is Zootopia, so like Pixar is just awesome.
Zootopia is not Pixar.
It's Disney. That's right. Oh, it's Disney. That's right. I totally split. Anyway, you're right. But I feel like since they acquired Pixar, their animations have got better.
Oh, I don't disagree.
All right, Paulie.
All right, yeah, I only had one question for you. That was it.
All right,
so
man.
You're off. You'll be back on, and I guess I'm on. So you guys know what my pick is. Caleb, I'm actually going to start with you on this one. What's your first question for me?
And yours was what again, Paulie? I'm sorry.
It's a kind of a two-parter.
That's right.
Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame.
Okay.
Together.
Okay. These movies are very epic, Paul. I saw both these movies with you in theaters. I'm pretty sure, Paul. Yeah. I know that we saw Endgame, for sure. And that was just an amazing experience, man. Probably my favorite theater experience of all time. I really hope that all of us can go see Spider-Man together because that movie looks fucking. Anyway, that movie was fucking amazing. But here's the thing: I want to know. Give me one scene, the one scene in both movies that just sticks in your mind. Where you're like, when I think of the end of the Infinity War, of the Infinity Saga, this one scene just always comes to mind first.
I mean, it's from each movie or just both of them combined?
Just all together, just the one scene.
I mean,
I think I know.
It's got to be the scene when the portals start appearing
on
and
your
you see
left.
all the Avengers coming in. Just, they've been building up like 11, 12 years to this one moment.
Right.
11 years, 22, like 21 fucking movies, and they give it to you.
How was the moment, Paul? You remember like in the theater just erupted, bro?
Yes.
Wait. I think I saw it with you and Mike, right, Mike?
Yeah.
You were there. The theater just, oh my, bro. That was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was so.
Come on.
I mean, the only way they could have possibly made it better is if maybe we could have gotten the Netflix heroes. Maybe throw Daredevil or Luke Cage in there. If you really wanted to go for it, maybe have Agent Coulson in the background.
The one moment I'll say, Paul, that could have made it better is if they didn't feel the need to put all the females in their one shot. I'm not sexist. I have nothing against that. It just felt very unnecessary. It was just like
no, you know what it was? It felt weak because Scarlett
It felt
Johansson
forced.
was not there. If
Yeah.
Scarlett was there, I would have been much more okay with it. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. All right, go
All
ahead,
right.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike, what's your first question?
All right. Well, much like Lotso and Toy Story 3, the Avengers are only as good as their villain, and we got Thanos. What was your favorite Thanos moment?
Oof. Jesus.
Oh God! I mean,
There's so many.
There's literally too many to pick, but I think his greatest moments did come in Infinity War.
Daddy.
I'd probably say when he's explaining his motivation to Doctor Strange, when he's
I'm doing
showing
something.
the history of his planet, what he proposed, how they laughed at him, but what he said came true. And you're like, wow, there is such a cold logic to what he's saying. Like, you don't agree with him, but it's like, oh, I get why he's doing it. And that's what makes the villain, that's in my mind is what makes truly great villains. Even when you don't like what they're doing, like, oh, I get why he's doing it. I understand why he's doing it. That makes sense. For the most part, I think this question was raised multiple times. Well, instead of wiping out half the universe, why not just double the resources of the universe? No, don't double the people, but double like plants. Double corn
plants
and
and
food
food,
available. That might help. You don't necessarily have to commit genocide. But I think that was my favorite moment.
And he has an iconic line, Paul. Like you know what I'm saying? You should have gone for the head, man. That was
at
just
the end. Yeah.
Oh my God. He just looks at Thor.
I saw Infinity War in IMAX, and the moment when he's up on the cliff with Gamora, he's looking at Gamora, and he's just see a tear going down his face when he's like, I know what I've got to do, and I'm going to do it because that's what I need. That's what I need to do. That was heartbreaking.
That was awesome.
And I'm just remembering, Caleb. You actually didn't see Infinity War in theaters because one of your exes. Well, we won't go there, but you actually saw it for the first time with me and Philip
that's
at
right.
his house.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember, I videotaped you watching the snap for the first time.
That's right. I remember. Yeah.
But
we did see Endgame though. We did see Endgame, so that was cool.
We did see Endgame in theaters.
So
all right.
My question.
What's your second question, Gail? Last question.
All right. There was a lot of sacrifice in these movies, Paul. There was a lot of people losing their life. What sacrifice stuck out to you and impacted you the most?
I think this answer is pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really top Scarlett Johansson.
Oh,
I mean,
you thought that he was going to go Iron Man?
I thought he was going to Iron Man.
I wasn't sure.
No, Iron Man was like those two. One, and Iron Man was a close second, but I mean, that Scarlett Johansson Black Widow giving herself up to make sure the mission was done. That was just devastating, especially because you seeing them fighting each other, like to see who will be the one to give up their life.
Right.
That is just dude.
I mean, it made all the sense, Paul. It made all the sense for Scarlett to do it because Clint has a family, he has a wife, he has kids, and she doesn't have any of that. But he was like, "No, I love you. You're my sister. You're like my sister. I like can't let you die. And like that relationship. I will say, though, like something, watching Tom Holland's acting when he's talking to Tony was like so impactful to me. And how he was just holding him, and he was just like like getting colder, and Gwyneth Paltrow's horrible acting afterwards was just great too, because she didn't give a shit. But it's whatever. It's whatever. Tom Holland's acting was fantastic, so that's all that matters. But yeah.
Wow, that was brutal. I take you're not a Gwyneth Paltrow fan.
She's lifeless, Paul. Like watch that scene again. Oh, Tony, it's okay, Tony. It's just like. Your husband just sacrificed himself to save the universe. Do you give a shit? Probably not, obviously, but it is cool. Whatever. But but yeah, great choice, Paul. Sorry.
Yeah,
go ahead, Mike.
That one hit me the most.
Definitely.
All right, Mike. Your last question is.
After all that down and sacrifice, There's also a lot of humor in these movies.
Yes.
What's one of your favorite funny moments that's one sticking in your mind? First one that comes in mind.
Yeah.
These movies are so good; it's hard to choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be honest with you. That's actually the one of the very few down votes I have on the movie. That there are some funny moments, but none of them really stuck out to me.
Really?
At least
Okay.
not like previous movies. I have to say
Okay.
I didn't really find the funny moments that particularly good.
Okay, fair enough.
Not even Hulk giving the tacos to Ant-Man.
No, that didn't
I
really
mean,
do
I
anything.
did like Professor Hulk.
The
Though.
truth
That
be
was
told, I
cool,
actually
though.
found some of the humorless moments kind of cringy. You're like, oh god, you're really going there.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I'm off for now. We'll see. I'm back on at some point. But anyway, let's move on to picks number 7. And Mike, you're back on the hot seat. Your number 7 pick was Zootopia. So Caleb, I'll start with you. What's your first question for him?
Okay, so spoiler alert, everyone. There's a twist villain in Zootopia. If anyone hasn't seen it, Mike,
Yeah,
did you
that's me,
see
but
the
I don't
twist
care.
coming, and did you like it?
I didn't see the twist coming until I saw the Rams
Okay.
when they did their little Breaking Bad joke. I was like,
Jesus.
"Oh wait, lambs, rams, lambs. Ooh, okay. Are they gonna go there?" And they did.
Okay, nice. Okay, cool.
But I thought it was a brilliant move, though. Especially since, like, all in the movie, she'd just been very downtrodden. Just, oh yeah, I got to do what she said. I got to do what he says. He just got here for the lamb vote.
Okay. All right, Paul, go ahead.
All right. So what is it about this movie that appeals to you so much? Because I saw the trailer for it, I'm like, this does nothing for me.
Oh yeah. You know, I saw the trailers. I'm like, oh, this looks cute and fun, but whatever. Then I saw it in theaters, and I'm like, oh wow, this movie is about a lot of very topical, very important things. I mean, this is probably for me, this is one of the best Disney animated movies, possibly in the last 20 years. Primarily because, it's fun and it's got a lot of really fun characters, really cool moments. But at its heart, there is a lot that this movie is telling you about.
Yeah.
And it's telling you about it in the right way. It's encouraging on like racism, sexism, drug humor, and just like it, but it does it in a way that's very accessible. And I mean, for me, the one moment that's probably exemplifies this is the press conference scene, and like because like you see, because Nick and Judy had been having this relationship build throughout the whole time, and then suddenly Judy just she just can't help herself, and she just starts saying things that she thinks are right, but she just doesn't really visualize what the impact of what she's saying is. And it's just that one moment for me, it just made this entire movie into a whole nother level.
Okay. Caleb, what's your last question?
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean, going off that, who's your favorite character in the movie and why?
I mean, both Nick and Judy are so fantastic, but I mean, Nick Wilde is just so much fun, and voiced by Jason Bateman. Yes, please. I mean, ever since Arrested Development, I've just been a big, huge fan of his, especially of his comeback, and he had just the perfect voice for Nick. I mean, both Jennifer Goodwin had a perfect voice for Judy as well, but just Nick. I think Nick had a slightly better character arc in this one than Judy did.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Paulie.
So obviously this movie hit you really hard. You had a thorough time enjoying it. Was there anything about it that you thought fell flat?
Um, I guess like I guess the only part that I was like was when like they kind of like in the climax, the Nick and Judy do a switch up with the villain, and it was like pretty much from the beginning of the scene, like okay, that's what they're going to do, and that's what they did. I mean, it worked, but it's just like I think I would have liked a little bit more if I hadn't been able to see it coming. If they the clues that they played for it were a little bit too obvious for me.
Okay.
But it wasn't bad. It was just like,
Okay.
All right, then. All right, Mike, you are off the seat. Good job. Caleb, that means you're up next. So
Yeah.
number 7 was the 84 Nightmare on Elm Street. And
Yeah.
Mike, I'll let you start this one off. What's your first question for Caleb?
all right. Horror movies aren't typically thought of as the best films in history.
Fair enough.
What is it that makes Friday the 13th kind of? Sorry, me for Friday the 13th, you for
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. What
Yeah.
what is it about Nightmare on Elm Street that kind of make it stand out above the pack?
Well, again, you like horror movies, Mike, but I would consider myself the horror guy of the group for sure.
Actually, I'm not big on horror movies.
Okay.
Just Friday the 13th.
I have 3 more horror movies on my list, just to let you guys know. Because for me, it's always been split between horror and comic book movies, and then I movies from my childhood. So Nightmare on Elm Street has a very special place in my heart. I watched the original a lot, which is this one. It is my favorite in the series. I used to watch it with my dad a lot, so it means a lot to me there. And Freddy Krueger is my favorite horror icon of all time. Just the way he speaks and the way that Robert Englund plays him. I just a lot of fun, really scary. And yeah, I just love this movie so much. It's great dialogue, great kills, great suspense, just awesome, great atmosphere. So awesome. Yeah. So this is the thing. I like Jason, but Friday the 13th is I like it a lot. It's not my favorite. So you'll see other franchises again higher on this list. John Carpenter is my favorite director of all time. So that should tell you guys where where we're going. But yeah. So go ahead, Paulie.
Yeah, you can probably take a couple of guesses. All right, so horror films like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, they're known for their kills and how over the top or just downright disturbing they can be. Do you have a favorite kill in that movie?
Oh man. Let me think for a second. I would probably say that this is the cliched answer. This is what everyone's gonna say, but it's just so iconic. Tina's death when he rolls her around and she's on top of the ceiling, and then he slices her chest open and just and the blood comes out and she falls down, and then Rod, her boyfriend, gets framed for her murder. Because nobody believes that it was a dream demon that killed her. It's just so iconic. The first time I saw it, I honestly didn't know how to feel. I was like, oh my god, what is going on right now? But yeah, so I would probably say Tina's death.
Yeah.
So.
My mom saw that movie when it came out, and she said that was seen was one of the reasons why she could not sleep for weeks after that. All right, Mike, what's your last question?
Well, I know Freddy got much more almost gesture-like in future movies.
Yeah.
But the first movie, what are your thoughts about him in the first movie?
Yeah, as the franchise goes on, I'd say past part 3, Dream Warriors, which I also love. Very cartoony, very just silly and dumb, and not like it's not scary. Freddy's Dead. If you guys don't ever watch that, he looks awful. He looks like a Power Rangers villain, bro. He looks awful. Looks horrendous. But But the first movie, like he's shrouded in darkness more. It's just suspenseful. Like the first time you see him, he's scratching his claws on the side of the thing, and it's just like it's just eerie, you know. And then he just and Robert Englund just knows how to be creepy. I don't know. He just knows how to be weird, and his voice, you know. And you just hear Nancy. Whoa, bro, chill. You know, it's very eerie. The atmosphere is so good, and again, and the Wes Craven is also one of my favorite. So it's funny. I have 2 Wes Cravens and I have 2 John Carpenters on my film. So those 2 are 2 of my favorites. But Wes Craven is so good at making that atmosphere and the anxiety that you feel, you know. And like Paul said, in '84 when this came out, people were saying I can't go to sleep because I might die, and it was a legit thing. It wasn't like oh no, it's no. People were like, I can't go to sleep because I'm gonna die. Like someone's gonna kill me in my sleep, and it's scary. And I mean, these things. This is for me. I just love being scared. It's one of my favorite things. I like suspense and atmosphere and all that. So I love this. He was best in this movie. If you like scary Freddy, if you like comic, you know, like comical Freddy, then he was probably best in part 3. But either this or part 2 is where he was the scariest. Which, yeah.
So my last question really doesn't have much to do with the movie, but about the main star. It's obvious you are a huge Robert Englund fan.
Love him.
I heard him say that he would be up for one more Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Would you want to see him return once more, one last time?
I mean, if he's in the prosthetics, Paul, I think he would look. It wouldn't matter how old he is, but like, here's the thing. The 2010, and I promised that I wasn't going to talk about this, but Jackie Earle Haley was not the problem. The problem was the horrendous acting in that movie by an Academy Award winner in what is her name? I can't remember her name now off the top of my head. She was in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Rooney Mara.
Oh.
Her acting was horrible in this movie. Horrible. So, like, if he had a better script, I think someone else could do it. But of course, like, I mean, I would be 100% up for Robert Englund. 100%. I love this dude, and he loves being Freddy. Again, is he too old? I don't know, because the prosthetics. I don't think it would matter. I would love a new Freddy movie. I'll watch it, even if it sucks, man. I'll watch it. So I would 100% be down. So,
not gonna lie, I do love Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, I love that movie. The movie's great.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
I don't like Jason's performance, Mike. I wish it was Ken Hodder, and that because Ken Kersinger, who plays Jason, is really stiff. He's just kind of like there, you know. Everyone says, "Well, he's in a mask. He's just walking around." No, Kane Hodder made Jason his own. His walk, his swagger, his So yeah, I love that movie too. It's great.
Yeah, for me, Kane Hodder always nailed it when he did like the head tilt.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, all right, Paulie.
All right, so you're off the hot seat. Good job. All right, so I'm up. You know my number 7 is. So, Caleb, I'm going to start with you on this one. What's your first question for me?
So, Paulie, when you said this in the chat, I couldn't remember what this is, Paulie. So, give me like a small synopsis and a reason as to why it's on your list.
All right, so The Secret of Nim. It is based on the book, Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim.
Okay.
It is directed by the legend Don Bluth.
Okay.
And in my honest opinion, this is not just one of the greatest films I've ever seen, but the greatest animated film ever made.
Whoa, hot take. Bold statement. I like it.
First of all, the animation is fucking gorgeous. It is some of the most beautiful, intense, colorful animation I have ever seen.
Okay.
The characters are so memorable. They're so likable. The main hero characters. The funny moments are funny. The intense moments are intense. There's even some scary moments that will put you on edge. There is tragedy. There's action. There's just everything. And then the meanings, the questions that this film makes you ask that you have to answer. Just it is so fucking good. Like this is animation at its best, and not to mention the stuff they are able to get away with as with a G rating. I guarantee you, if this movie ever got released today, forget PG. This be pushing PG-13.
Whoa, jeez.
And it's got a G rating. So, I mean, when it came out. So, I mean, everything about this film, I love it so much. There's really nothing bad I have to say about it.
All right, fair enough.
All right,
Nicodemus
Mike,
always
what's your
freaked
first
the hell out
question?
of me.
What?
Nicodemus always freaked the hell out of me. He is creepy AF, man. Oh,
Yeah, I'll admit, I didn't picture Nicodemus looking like that reading the book. I'm like, I did picture him being old and very wise, but yeah, that was a little, okay. I wasn't thinking about that, but okay.
Yeah, I've never
All right,
seen
so
this
anyway,
movie.
yeah,
Paul,
what's
I'm
your first
sorry.
question, Mike?
yeah, it's okay. So, what are your thoughts on the protagonist, Mrs. Brisby?
I mean, she was, she's a mother looking to save her son. I think we can, especially Caleb, he can relate to that as not being a father with a son. I mean, if your kid's in danger, you're gonna do whatever you have to do to save it. I'll admit, I thought she was a little bit better in the book, though admittedly it's really been a long time since I read it, so I can't remember too many details.
Yeah.
But she was fine. She was a perfect plot point for the story to go through. Kind of like the every person seeing this strange, freaky world that you don't know exists, but as insane as there's something nice about it too. And you really, yeah, you feel for this character. She was delivered pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read the books too.
Yeah. So yeah, Caleb, what's your last question?
Okay. Give me is there like a favorite line of dialogue that is your favorite, Paul, and why?
I mean, I guess kind of when Nicodemus is telling Mrs. Brisby about giving kind of their history and about telling her about her husband Jonathan, he delivers this very eloquently, very wise sensei. Like, I really enjoyed how he delivered and despite how creepy, but how welcoming he was of her, which does make sense considering how much Jonathan meant to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the way he handled telling the origin story of the rats and what happened to them while they were at Nim. It was delivered well done. It was very well delivered.
Awesome.
That moment really gets you like, okay, I'm full sold in. It doesn't happen to like the second third of the film, but once you see it, like, okay, now I'm 100% in.
Okay.
All right, Mike, what's your last question?
All right, not really too much. Not really like a deep question, but which one was more creepy for you, Nicodemus or the Great Owl?
Oh man, that was by the tiniest of margin. I gotta say the Great Owl. Holy that thing freaked me the fuck out as a little kid. Even today, I still get like, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolute. Yeah. So I mean, Caleb, you need to see this film. It is an absolute gem of a masterpiece. Sit down with your son. Actually, no. Wait till like 2 years before Elijah sees it.
Yeah.
This film right now
I was
will
just
give
gonna
him
ask you.
nightmares. Okay.
But give it to like 10 or 11.
Yeah. Let him go ahead. Show it to
Paul,
him.
I was
Scare
just
the
gonna
shit
say
out of
that.
him.
Like, can I watch it with Elijah? And you're
Not
like,
just yet. Wait about a year or two, okay? Because it's gonna scare the shit out of him. But not in a bad way.
my baby.
If you watch it now, it'll be a bad thing. But once he's like 8, it'll be a good thing. It'll be a good way to scare him.
Okay.
Think
But
of
word of
an
warning,
American
whatever
Tale,
you do,
but much more adult.
Oh,
Mhm.
jeez.
but whatever you do, I'm telling you this right now, whatever you do not show him the sequel because it will scar him for life. That it is
Okay.
such a horrendous shithole of a movie.
I almost forgotten there was a sequel.
Yeah. Where is it?
Oh, you actually have it. Oh, nice.
Well,
He's a-
bear in mind, the only hold on. If I can find it, I'll show.
He's a
you.
completionist, so yes.
Where is it? Okay. Yeah, the only reason I have it is because it's in this combo pack. That's really it. So they're both in the movie. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Fair enough.
Okay. Yeah, don't show him the sequel. It
Oh,
is
okay.
horrendous. It's absolutely horrible. But watch the first one, please. You know what?
Oh,
I'll watch it with you. Once he
Okay.
hits like his 8th birthday, I'll come up. I'll bring the movie. We'll sit down. We'll watch it together.
sounds good, bud. Excuse me. Sorry.
That's all right.
Hello,
I get the
Daddy.
feeling.
baby.
I'm gonna sleep on you.
All right, guys. So that has
No.
been a wrap up episode 175 of the show. This is a whole lot of fun talking about these movies, and I want to thank both Caleb and Mike for being here, especially Caleb. I'm glad you could do 2 shows in a row this time.
Yes, sir. Definitely. It's fun.
Indeed, it was. And we will see you next time for picks 6 and 5 on our lists. We're halfway done with. We'll get halfway done with it on our next show. Hope to see both of you back here along with a few others. I hope to see you. We'll watch next time. Until then, have a great night, everyone. Bye bye.